Good morning. My name is Leslie Girodi, and I have the privilege of serving on your Board of Trustees, and it's my happy task this morning to welcome you to the North Shore Unitarian Church, where our mission is to empower people to live with greater depth, meaning, and purpose. And in my work over the years with the church, there's been a number of things that I've enjoyed a lot, and I just wanted to raise up one of those this morning, and that is the folks doing work on behalf of the church, how they really bring their best selves to that work. And I have to say that I've learned a lot from the kind of creativity, energy, and good intention that those folks bring along when they come to committee meetings or whatever it might be. So that has been a real pleasure. And it's been both an inspiration to me, and I'm grateful for it as well as a member of this community. Before I finish the welcome, I just want to highlight to you the meeting that's happening next Sunday after church. So 12:15 here in the sanctuary. There will be sandwiches available for you to purchase before the meeting. And our new building task force, who's been working away for us for 10 years, 10 years, bringing their very best selves to that work, has unanimously recommended a site to the board, and we have looked at it and considered whether it meets our goals. Very early stages, but we'll be talking to you about that site, why the new building task force and the board are excited about it as a potential new home for us. So next Sunday, 12:15, come and join us and hear what we have to say and share your thoughts and questions at that time. So back to the welcome. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. It doesn't matter whose hand you choose to hold. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey or what you call sacred. You are welcome here. Welcome.
And good morning. So glad to be with you this not rainy day. There was even a little sunshine this morning. It's nice. First of all, for those of you who are paying attention, it's not Emily, it's me today. Surprise! Emily was depleted this week, physically, emotionally, just done, and so she asked me to step in and preach today. So you'll hear my sermon on her topic. I'm sorry. Special welcome to anyone who's visiting with us today. Any newcomers, we invite you to sign in on our iPad in the lobby or fill out one of the cards to get connected if you want to learn more about our community. Special guest welcome to Stuart Gonzalez today, who's coming to talk with our class that's been piloting a curriculum on the truth, healing, and reconciliation process. So thank you so much for being with us. And soup today after the service provided by Diane Hicks. Thank you so much, Diane. And Diane told me she needs somebody to help out cleaning up. So if you're willing to do that today, let Diane know. A couple more announcements about things happening in the life of our community. There's a documentary screening coming up, The Living Salish Sea, This Living Salish Sea, Wednesday, December 6th. It's a film that explores the living treasures of the Salish Sea, powerful undercurrents to the resistance to the corporate fossil fuel agenda that threaten it. The filmmaker will be here to answer questions, so if you can be there. I know also the Blue Dot Foundation is going to be here, so it will be quite an event if you can be there. Also coming up, we're collecting now for Christmas hampers. Jackie Coates is organizing that. Jackie, you want to raise your hands so we can see you back there? Jackie, we're going to sponsor folks seniors, folks with disabilities, to give a holiday hamper. So we need cash, volunteers to go get gifts, wrapping paper, fun items to add into the hampers like chocolates, tea, or coffee. So see Jackie downstairs. Donations can, of course, be tax deductible. And lastly, I have to wear something special now for this announcement. No, oh, Carrie doesn't like it. We're having a holiday dinner Again, Diane Hicks is organizing this for us. It's December 9th. Buy your tickets now. So see Diane, or Diane, is there someone else? Oh, Ann Mayall over here. See Ann if you want to buy tickets for the holiday dinner. Come and celebrate the season. So once again, welcome. So glad to be with you. So before I went to seminary, decided to pursue the call to ministry, one of my favorite jobs I ever had was working at the Exploratorium. The Exploratorium is San Francisco's version of Science World, a hands-on art and science museum. And my job there was to lead field trips of kids who would come and visit the museum. I'd bring them into the museum, and then we'd take turns at different exhibits showing things. And my favorite one to be at was magic tricks. I thought about trying to bring one today, but I'm a little rusty. But I got to do magic tricks with kids, and ooh and ah, and where it's normally true that a magician never reveals their secrets, at the Exploratorium, the whole point was to reveal the secret. So we would do the tricks and then show, okay, this is how we did it. And boy, the reaction, some kids would say, well, that's dumb. And walk right away. And some kids would be moderately impressed, but kind of would lose the magic. Some kids couldn't believe like the how you did it was even more impressive than the trick itself. And some kids would sit right down as soon as we had shown them and start practicing themselves. And so what does it have to do with why we come to church? I think that we are here because secrets mean so many different things. We all have our secret worlds and also our secrets. And this is a place where all of that can be held in community, where we can have all of those different reactions and trust one another to explore secrets together. Got a story to tell if any kids want to come on up, or kids at heart. I know I say that every time, but it's true. You're really welcome to come up, anyone. Oh, I hope some of you will stay after the service today and join us for getting ready for a pageant. We're going to tell a winter solstice story in a few weeks. And if you want to be part of that, you're welcome. You can just show up after the service today. You all too. So, has anybody ever read the book or seen the movie The Secret Garden? Yes. Yeah, so I just want to tell you a little bit of that story. If you know it already, don't give it away. But it's a story about a girl named Mary. And Mary, nobody loved Mary, and Mary didn't love nobody. She was kind of sickly, not very nice. Her parents didn't really have any time for her. And one day, she was already kind of this grumpy, gangry, not so great person. And then one day, something horrible happened in her life. Everyone she knew, her whole family and her nursemaid, everyone who took care of her, they all died in an epidemic of cholera. No, terrible. Cholera, it's an illness, a sickness. And so she was sent eventually to go live in Yorkshire. Anybody know where Yorkshire is? No, Alice knows. Good enough. It's on the other side of the world. Anyway, so she goes to live at Misselthwaite Manor. Was that something like that? Misselthwaite Manor, and she's sent there because it's her uncle Archibald Craven's house. And boy, the misery of that place just mirrors the misery in Mary. But she finds out while she's living there that there's a secret garden, that the mother, Archibald's wife, Mistress Craven, who used to live there, she died, but she had kept this secret garden somewhere on the grounds. And Mary, enchanted by this idea of a secret garden, she began to look for it. And even though she was kind of sick and weak, she would spend her days outside looking for the secret garden, and eventually looking for the garden, and then finally finding the garden, and then tending the garden, caring for it, and helping the plants grow there. She started coming back to life. The secret garden became her place that brought her alive. But there was another secret at Misselwaith Manor too. There was a secret about a boy who might live there. She'd never seen him. She'd never heard anybody talk about him. But she'd heard his cries sometimes. And so she went exploring for that secret too. You know how that is with secrets. Once you know there's a secret, you got to kind of track it down, right? So she went off exploring for this secret boy, and she found him. She found this secret boy in this secret room, and he was sick too. And the story that had been told to him and that he thought about himself was that he was never going to get out of bed. He was never going to be able to do anything. And so all the servants had been told to just give him whatever he wanted. His name was Colin. And he was used to only interacting with people who would obey everything he said. But Mary, when she found him, she didn't obey him. No, Mary wanted to spend time in her secret garden. So when Colin told her, "You have to come and spend time with me every day," she said, "No, I'm going. I go to my garden." And eventually, the idea of that garden got into Colin's head, just the way it had gotten into Mary's head. And eventually, Mary brought Colin to that garden too. And eventually, that secret garden, that special place, helped bring two grieving, traumatized kids back to life. So I wonder if you've ever been to a secret garden, or if you have something else in your life. Maybe it's not a secret garden. Maybe it's something else that's your secret place. And maybe it's only in your imagination. But there's those two kinds of secrets in that book, the secret place, that secret special place that brings people back to life, and those secrets that get hidden away and keep people trapped. So wonder when you've seen those secrets in your life. Watch out for those secret hidden rooms that keep people trapped. Look for those secret gardens that bring people back to life.
So my not-so-secret desire, when this dark and rainy weather sets in, is to wish I was laying on a beach somewhere. So I thought maybe a guided meditation today might be a nice break for everyone. So settle in. Allow your entire body to rest heavily on the surface where you sit, and gently close your eyes. Feel your arms and legs becoming loose and relaxed. Breathe deeply into your diaphragm, drawing air fully into your lungs, and then release. Breathe in again slowly. Pause for a moment and breathe out. Become more and more relaxed with each breath. Now imagine you are walking toward the ocean, walking through a beautiful tropical forest. You can hear the waves up ahead. You can smell the ocean spray. The air is moist and warm. Feel a pleasant, cool breeze blowing through the trees. You walk along a path, coming closer to the sea. As you come to the edge of the trees, you still see the brilliant aqua color of the ocean ahead. You walk out of the forest and onto a long stretch of white sand. The sand is very soft. Imagine taking off your shoes and walking through the hot, white sand toward the water. The beach is wide and long. Hear the waves crashing to the shore. Smell the clean salt water and beach. See the waves washing up onto the sand and receding back toward the ocean, washing up and flowing back down. Enjoy the ever-repeating rhythm of the waves. As you approach the water, you can feel the mist from the ocean on your skin. You walk closer to the waves and feel the sand becoming wet and firm. A wave washes over the sand towards you and touches your toes before receding. Walk further into the clear, clean water. You can see the white sand under the water. The water is a pleasant, relaxing temperature. Now you are feeling calm and refreshed. You walk back out of the water and onto the beach. Stroll along the beach at the water's edge, free of worries, no stress, calm, enjoying this holiday. You feel peaceful and relax. Allow all your stresses to melt away. When you are ready to return from your vacation, do so slowly. Bring yourself back to your usual level of alertness and awareness. Keep with you the feeling of calm and relaxation, feeling ready to return to your day. Feel refreshed and filled with energy.
In our community of care and concern of holding one another, we light 2 candles each week. The first for the joys and sorrows present here among us. I once heard Thich Nhat Hanh say every time a cell phone rings, it's just a mindfulness bell, calling me back to attention. It stuck with me for years. A candle for those joys and concerns, those cares on our hearts here, those in our wider community. Maybe remember that what is held by one is held by us all. And a second candle of witness, those headlines, those news and events near and far that remain on our thoughts, that we hold in our hearts. Especially thinking this morning of the people of Zimbabwe and their huge transition this week. May we extend to all beings the compassion we offer one another here. Peace, peace upon each and all. How does it feel to be asked that question? I gotta say, I don't believe in any devil, but that is the devil's question. Can you keep a secret? So much power and temptation. It's like a chocolate cake just sitting there. Oh, this lure. Not only to know what the secret is, but to be in the inside, right? To belong in a special way. And the net, oh, it's right there too. Because the minute I've said yes to keeping the secret, I'm ensnared, caught in a web that will almost inevitably stretch my integrity till it snaps. When the choir began rehearsing the piece they just sang, Allison checked in with them. She said, She said, Emily and I had talked about this song, and what do you think? How would you feel about singing this in church? And Allison told me Brian Wellwood was the first to speak up. He said I could share this. He said, well, I think it's really important. I think it's really important, especially us men, that we speak up. And Allison thought, oh yeah, right, there's men who are affected by this too, and it's victims of sexual assault and so on. And it became quickly clear that no, Brian meant it's important that men, as the primary perpetrators of sexual assault, of a lot of the sexual violence and other forms of violence done against women and people of all genders, it's important for men to speak up. So thanks for saying that, Brian. And then it had in my ear ringing after I heard that story, the iconic line from the poet Muriel Rukeyser. What would happen if one woman told the truth about her life? The world would split open. Over the past several decades, really, the hollow foundations of patriarchy have been exposed and laid bare. And yet, while the old masculinity lies blatantly bankrupt, morally repulsive to all who have eyes to see it, it also continues to dominate lives and headlines, to desecrate the sacred boundaries of respect and care. Women and trans folks and queer folk, and some men too, are faced with choices about what they are willing to risk to tell their story. And men, mostly men, though some others too, are faced with the choice of whether we continue to defend and justify, minimize or excuse the culture of permitting sexual violence, or speak up. And when this service was first planned and that piece of music was chosen, we had yet to even hear about the sexual history of Harvey Weinstein. Now the dozens of other men following in his wake, some secrets are coming out. Some women are telling the truth about their lives. Some women, some men, some people are telling the truth about power and sex and vulnerability. And of course, that's not new. When was there not a somewhat recent headline about powerful men abusing their power? When were there not women and some men telling their stories of assault and survival? And yet still, here we are, here at a crossroads of culture. The stories we hear about, they ask us to reflect on our own stories. In Facebook posts to the world and in small circles of trust, stories and secrets are shared. So what happens when secrets are told? What changes? What changes within us? What changes in the world? That was the question that inspired this message. Share a secret. You are invited to anonymously contribute a secret to a group art project. Your secret can be a regret, fear, betrayal, desire, confession, or childhood humiliation. Reveal anything, as long as it's true and you've never shared it with anyone before. Frank Warren printed those words on 3,000 postcards and distributed them widely. He handed them out at subway stations, left them in art galleries, slipped them in between pages of library books. And in November 2004, secrets began arriving in his mailbox. After several weeks, he stopped passing out postcards, but the secrets kept coming. handmade postcards made from cardboard, old photographs, wedding invitations. Other personal items, artfully decorated, arrived from all over the world. Now this group art project, it's called Post Secret. Imagine some of you know it. It's the largest advertisement-free blog in the world. The latest count of visitors to postsecret.com is close to 800 million. Almost 1 billion people have visited to see these little photographs, these little representations of the postcards people sent to Frank. There's several Post Secret books, an app, a touring show, a TED Talk. Frank Warren, who calls himself an accidental artist, struck a nerve. And those postcards that people have sent to Frank, they range from hysterical to heartbreaking to stomach-churning to soul-nourishing. So I'm going to show you a few. They're edgier, some of them, than some things we talk about here, but these are far from the edgiest that you might find in a Post-Secret catalog. So some have a sort of cathartic righteousness to them. I give decaf to customers who are rude to me. Or I let my dog poop in the yards of people who don't shovel their sidewalks when it snows. Others might get under your skin a little more as they reveal broken social taboos. I pick my nose while giving massage. Or even worse, I hate having to pay attention to the type of wrapping paper I buy now that I have Jewish friends. Others, they tell poignant truths about self, family, addiction, loss, mental health. I haven't told my family yet. Well, see. Oh, there it is. I haven't told my family yet, but I'm not coming home for Christmas. I give up. It feels great. There are a million things I wish I had told you before you died. I'm sorry. I need to find a purpose in my life that demonstrates how I am not worthless. I can eat 12 donuts in one sitting. Sometimes we put up walls, not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to knock them down. I'll soon be 70. I never expected to have as many regrets as I do. Dear friend, I never told you, but I was on my way home to swallow all my medicines that day you saw me at the bus stop and gave me a hug. Thank you. People also send in notes, emails. Sometimes just the act of sharing a painful secret can relieve some of the pain, one sender sent. Or, dear Frank, so many of my secrets are there on Post Secret without my even sending a card. Or, dear Frank, after I created my postcard, I didn't want to be the person with that secret any longer. I ripped up my postcard and I decided to start making some changes in my life. There's some about religion and belief. There was a whole exhibit at one point on revelations of faith. I'm a Catholic, but sometimes I think there's nothing else. This is it. A window into a religious shame that in so many ways our community stands as a bulwark against. And yet, I want to be a Unitarian Universalist, but I don't know how God will take it. Oh, there we are. And many, of course, grapple with beautiful, silly, challenging, or simply painful secrets around sexuality. I spread rumors about my gay classmate to see how people would react if they ever found out about me. I'm a lesbian, but I'd do Jack Bauer in a heartbeat. That's 2 secrets in one. I apologized to you for saying what you did to me was rape. But it was rape. And I'm done apologizing. The other day I realized I've raped myself over 22 times by saying yes when I really meant no. This is my apology to myself. I pulled a muscle in my neck while masturbating. I couldn't move my head for 3 days. I told my husband it was from moving furniture. Secrets of all shapes and sizes. And you know those painful secrets, the ones that hit you hardest. And whether they have to do with religion and belief, or with self-image, or with sex, or with abuse, all of those painful secrets, they wrestle with shame. Frank Warren says in the introduction to the first of those many post-secret books, sometimes when we believe that we are keeping a secret, that secret is actually keeping us. So what secrets do we share? What secrets do we keep as our own? How do we know the difference? Anne Lamott, the spiritual writer, writes this: every single one of us at birth, every single one of us, is given an emotional acre all of our own. You get one. Your awful Uncle Phil gets one. I get one. Tricia Nixon gets one. Everyone gets one. And as long as you don't hurt anyone, you really get to do with your acre as you please. You can plant fruit trees or flowers or alphabetized rows of vegetables or nothing at all. If you want your acre to look like a giant garage sale or an auto-wrecking yard, that's what you get to do with it. There's a fence around your acre, though, with a gate. And if people keep coming onto your land and sliming it or trying to get you to do what they think is right, you get to ask them to leave. And they have to go, because this is your acre. This emotional acre, this secret garden. Those 2 images from the story. On the one hand, that life-giving secret garden, a secret full of unknown possibilities and promises of splendor and beauty. Searching for, finding, eventually tending that garden brings Mary back to life. The secret garden, the emotional acre, the special and private place is shared with Colin and finally brings another traumatized and grieving child back to life. And then that other secret, that secret room with the secret boy, the illness and the pain and the suffering that no one is to speak of, no one is to see, hidden in the far wing, the secret bears no fruit or flower, but requires servants to do its bidding. These two kinds of secrets. One way of talking about this is the distinction between secrecy and privacy. I think we get these ideas confused sometimes. Because just because I hold a piece of information private doesn't make it a secret. The confidences I hold as a minister when people share their stories with me are not secrets, but private. And on the other hand, clergy who have withheld information about sexual misconduct, their own or colleagues, from congregations or authorities, have kept damaging secrets. Reverend Tom Rhodes shares his exploration of the question. He asks, but where does privacy end and secrecy begin? There's a gray area between what is private and what is secret. A person's sexual history, for instance, he says, is generally regarded as a private affair. But when that history involves the betrayal of a spouse or a sexually transmitted disease or sex with underage persons, it crosses the line into secrecy. Likewise, a person's health is generally considered a private concern, but if that person is running for public office, concealing health risks could rightly be seen as an inappropriate secret. So it's not clear-cut. What I found most helpful is this. If I'm asking if I can talk about it, I'm in the territory of dangerous secrets. But if instead I'm asking, how can I talk about it? With whom can I talk about it? When can I talk about it? I'm asking the appropriate question of privacy. And really, any secret we hold can benefit from those more nuanced questions. The question stops being whether this is something you can talk about or not, because if something is completely off limits, it's a secret. It's not the secret garden kind. If you're holding it as, I can never talk to this about anyone, that's a secret, and I don't think there's ever a healthy secret in that way. So not if you can talk about it, how can you talk about it? Who can you talk about it with? When can you talk about it? These questions short-circuit the shame current that secrets need to endure. And the intention of these secrets is to keep us safe. That's so often the intention. Emily's family kept a secret for years and years about her grandfather. A long-time high-level employee of Kodak, Emily's grandfather was devoted to his career. It was his identity. It was everything. And so in an attempt to protect his dignity, his children and grandchildren were told that he retired when the family moved to Florida, and the truth was that he was asked to step away because he had become controlling and too difficult to work with. That truth was held secret, and I've never met the man, but from all I know about secrets, I can only imagine that attempt to save him from the public shame of his family knowing the true story only served to magnify and intensify the private shame. I think it's the same shame that my grandmother carried her whole life, as she refused to talk about the truth of my grandfather's sexuality. I told a bit of his story at the Living Extraordinary event this fall. As a gay Presbyterian minister, my grandfather's sexuality was a secret of the highest order. And the shame and institutionally enforced silence eventually enabled the man to murder him But even after that, and even the rest of her life, my grandmother couldn't talk about that secret. The very effort to protect herself from the shame compounded and built it further. Protecting a family secret may be intended to be about saving someone from shame, but in fact it ends up piling the shame even higher. So one more way to talk about this distinction. The word secret is actually etymologically really closely related with sacred. Secret and sacred, they both come from sakerne, which is to separate, to set apart. And like the garden, there do exist sacred secrets, secrets that by being set apart, become a blessing. These kind of secrets protect the soil that holds the tender seedlings of creativity from the stomping feet of unwanted opinions. These kinds of secrets bring dignity to the spine, kindness to the eye, a soft smile to the lips. And then there are secrets that serve only to ensnare and entrap, secrets that clamp down on feeling and depress the bearer, that trade in shame and serve to feed and grow it. Secrets can take many forms, Frank says. They can be shocking or silly or soulful. They can connect us with our deepest humanity or with people we'll never meet again. I believe that each of us has the ability to discover, share, and grow our own dark secrets into something meaningful and beautiful. Each of us has the ability to discover, share, and grow our own dark secrets into something meaningful and beautiful. Secrets, he says, can be walls or bridges. Oh, may each of us find ways to post our secrets, to let go, to trust that there is enough love in this world to hold our scariest truths and darkest thoughts. That even our most bitter pain or deepest shame can be held with compassion. May we cultivate our private acres, tend to the sacred garden that can be a joyful secret that brings us back to life. And when we're called upon, may we share that life-giving secret garden with another who needs it. May it be so. Amen.